Welcome and thank you for joining us. Today, we are going to look into DreamzCMMS Facility Management solution and how you can streamline, automate, and turn your normal facility operation into tomorrow's smart, AI-driven, and IoT-enabled facility operation. I am Shubhrajit, Business Development Manager here at DreamzCMMS, and I'm going to focus on the key features that DreamzCMMS offers as part of the facility management solution. Alright, so the topics we are going to cover today are, of course, the basic first about DreamzCMMS as a company, what we do, our clients, etc. And then we'll jump into some core issues that you might be facing with operations day to day. We are also going to look into the 10 goals. These are the high level goals that we have seen that our facility operation clients wants to achieve with the software. And finally, we'll jump into the application and see a very high level view of different modules and different features DreamzCMMS offers as part of the solution. Alright, DreamzCMMS is an enterprise product suite that has multiple products under one platform. The platform can be used for simple asset management, field service management, maintenance, and also can be used to automate process flow using edge computing, IoT, artificial intelligence. Our platform at its core is truly industry agnostic, be it manufacturing, food processing, or in this case facility management or field service. The DreamzCMMS product suite has features that is suitable for your business, and on top of it, our professional service ensures that we make necessary changes in your version of the application so that it best suits your business needs. I also want to clarify one vital point here. Maybe you're using some ERP already like SAP or Microsoft Dynamics, and if all the users trained for it and all the processes are in place already. Now, DreamzCMMS is not to replace it. We are in fact SAP and Microsoft partner, and we provide complementary services that is not easier to get with SAP or Microsoft. For example, managing your stock in real time with QR code or RFID. Being mobile first application, we provide that service and then we can sync the data to your backend, whether it is SAP or Microsoft Dynamics or any other ERP it can be. And we are doing it for our versatile client base already that you can see from here. Now, given the type of companies listed here, you can surely understand how versatile our product is. And with our professional services, we ensure that DreamzCMMS works just the way it's needed in your organization. Okay, enough for the introduction. Let's dive into some basics where FMS or field service management software can really help. Now, this list is what we see as problems for our customers, the problems that we have seen in the real life when they are basically working, when they did not really have any applications, when they approached us, when we did the analysis of their business problems. These are the problems that we have seen. This is the list about that. And in most cases, the problem really starts with poor asset management. Managing assets are key for a facility business. However, unless you can manage it properly, all the subsequent problems starts like ineffective maintenance. Proper maintenance keeps the facility running, and without proper information on assets, maintenance also lags behind, and that leads to increasing downtime. With more and more unplanned downtime, the workload increases exponentially on the workforce. However, without a FMS, you have no visibility on workforce. Visibility means which job is assigned to whom, who is where, and whether the workload is distributed properly based on skill requirement, and that takes inefficient task management and crude ways of risk management. Without proper skill-based assignment and defining the task to be performed at the site, you can never be sure of the quality of the job done and whether the problem is really resolved. Another big issue related to services are multi-channel communication. When something is reported, whether by your technician or customer, without a FMS, it is a big mess. They may use email, message, WhatsApp, or so many other ways to communicate. But with many ways, it becomes impossible to know the real number of open items and also the status of the open items. This gives a very poor visibility on the overall business, and the things does not take time to turn south. All such issues finally accumulate when it comes to auditing at the end of the year. Audits are nightmares because all of these manual data handling, first of all, manual data entering is hectic. And secondly, you don't really know whether everything is really recorded or not. As a result, you never have that confidence when the reports come, and then never really know how as a business you are performing. So with FFS, what we are trying to achieve, that can be broken down into 10 high level goals or 10 high level points here. Okay. The very first thing a FMS can help you with is reduce asset downtime. With proper asset lifecycle management and timely maintenance, you can definitely reduce the unplanned downtimes. Not only that, timely maintenance also helps you to extend the equipment lifetime, and that allows you to provide better service and increased ROI on the invested asset, optimizing the overall system performance. FMS can also help you streamline all your communication by accumulating all the channels into one, and that makes sure you are never missing any urgent service request from any site. This also allows you to do better planning for work distribution and increase the overall productivity, because with proper distribution you increase the workforce performance. And to measure that, you don't really have to depend on anyone or any report or anything, because a good FMS can keep track of work order KPIs for you. Also, one of the key objectives of FMS is to allow you to better manage your inventory of parts and supply, and track the stock release, stock run out, and everything that you normally do every day with respect to stock management. And as you can see, with everything streamlined under one roof, the overall visibility of your business increases, and it helps you take better decisions. All right, let's now take a look into DreamzCMMS platform and see how DreamzCMMS FMS can help you achieve these goals. Before we jump into the live demo, let's first see the high-level points that we'll focus on during our demo. We'll see how you can manage your facilities and asset, how to configure preventive maintenance, what are the ways of incident reporting, how work orders or job can be created based on reported issues, how you can configure your SLA that will reflect when managing work orders, how you can ensure proper task and risk management using our AI-powered checklist, what is collaborative job management and how it helps you track workforce better, how to manage the stock and what drives the stock release, how job sheet and customer feedback works, what kind of insight you can get from our AI-powered customer feedback analysis. And then we'll look into our standard reports. We have like more than 200 such reports already built in, which you can use. We'll also discuss a little about how you can turn a normal facility into a smart facility with IoT sensors and smart meters, and of course with our AI engine. So let's jump in. When you log in for the first time, you see this global dashboard where you can see different dashboards for like technician dashboard, administrator dashboard, manager dashboard, purchasing, and inventory dashboard. Now, to manage the assets, you have to go to this section, assets. Now, as assets, as you can see, you can manage assets and facilities all together. So we have these different groups where you can go, but let me just go to this all asset sections. When you go to all asset sections, it gives you a hierarchy view of all the facilities and assets together. For an example, if I drill down this, you will see this is one of the facility, and all these are different assets which are in this particular facility. Now you can click on this particular asset to see the details, all the details related to the asset. As you can see, when an asset is created, a unique QR code and barcode is already assigned to that. You can also assign a RFID tag with that if you want to use RFID for tracking of your assets. Now, this is what we call asset identification. So throughout the system, your asset is uniquely identified, and it is very important because it is something that will be used when it comes to incident reporting. We'll see that very soon. Now, coming down here, you have all these details that you can manage against the asset. You have this general information, you have parts BOM which you can add against this asset, you have metering events. Now this is for the sensor data and IoT data. If you want to automate things, if you want to assign personnel, you can assign personnel here. If you want to if you have warranty information, then you can capture it over here. You have business files, financials, especially if you want to manage depreciation of asset that you can manage from here. If you have purchased this particular asset, then the related purchase record or history will be coming up here. If this asset is tagged with a customer, then the customer information will appear here. And then finally the log, where you'll be able to see all this different information about the asset, when what happened with this particular asset in a timeline view or in a kind of a list view from here. You can also see all the planned works. This is our next point where we will go. You have this work order history, you have online offline asset, which you can say like, this is offline right now, and that's how you can also track the downtime for a particular asset. So when something goes off, either you can manually turn offline from here, and then when it comes on, you can set it to online manually, or if it is sensor driven, the sensor data is coming to the system, it can be done automatically based on the sensor information, and from there you can basically track for how long, when it was offline and for how long it was offline basically. You can also check different parts and supplies that were consumed before. You can also see all the different incidents that were reported against the asset, and you'll be able to see the asset rotation as well, so that maybe this asset is to this facility today and you want to move this asset to some other facilities. Those information will appear over here automatically as well. Now, moving the asset, you can do manually from here, or if you're using RFID and if you want to track that automatically, then obviously with RFID that will be tracked automatically. You don't really have to do that from here, and the tracking information will start to appear over here. And that is what we call a complete asset lifecycle management, and that was our first point, how you can manage your facilities and assets. Moving forward, the next point was about doing the preventive maintenance. Now, obviously with assets and warranties and different files that you're receiving from supplier and your manufacturer, you know how an asset needs to be maintained properly, right? And what kind of maintenance you have to do, when you have to do, and everything. So for that, what we are allowing you to do is you can go to this scheduled maintenance section, and you can basically create a maintenance for any asset basically based on these different configuration or requirement that you are getting from the supplier or the manufacturer. And once you do that configuration, what happens is if you go to this particular asset, I'll go back there again just to show you. So if I go inside this asset and go to the log, you will see under planned work order, you have all these different work order created automatically. So when you create the schedule, the system creates this schedule automatically, but nothing is assigned at this moment. All right. So if you can actually create business rules, different business rule based on what type of work order goes to which user, which technician, or whether a group of technician, or whether a particular department. And when the time comes, the system can automatically create the work order and then assign it to the specific group or the technician or the user based on your requirement. And that is the whole thing about preventive maintenance. So it's not like every day you are coming and checking different assets and making sure it is maintained properly. When you are installing the asset, when you are purchasing the asset, at that time you are scheduling what needs to be done with regards to the maintenance. You are configuring the system at that time, and that's all. From that point, system will take charge and it will make sure that these maintenance work orders are created automatically so that your technician can work. And obviously these automatic work orders and completion of work orders allows timely maintenance, which basically improves the the effectiveness of the asset and also extend the lifetime of the asset itself. Okay. Now the third point was about incident reporting. Now obviously even after you have a very good maintenance plan in place, there still can be problems, and that problem needs to be reported, right? Now normally what we saw before, that what we are discussing in fact in this, there are so many different communication channels via which this particular report can come to you, maybe an email or message or WhatsApp or call or something like that. Now DreamzCMMS allows two ways. One, the customer can report the incident from the DreamzCMMS customer app, or if your customer does not want to use a new app again, they can simply use their WhatsApp, or they can send one email. Your technician can also do that from their technician app. And the incidents, whether it is coming from WhatsApp, email, or via app, everything basically comes to a single place, and the incident is raised automatically, so you don't lose track, like what happened to which asset and whoever has reported. And more importantly, I'll show you very soon, this is something is very easy for the customer, for the customer to do also, because customer does not have to remember anything really. They simply can scan this QR code against the asset, and then provide whatever the problem they are facing with that particular asset. Let me just quickly show you that how it is done. Let me do one thing. Let me turn on my phone. So this is the customer app, and to basically create a request, customer has to tap on this plus sign and click on request, and that will open up this new request form where they can provide the title, description. They don't even have to write. They can record whatever the problem is in their own language, native language, and that can be processed by your AI engine, and can be create a work order based on whatever is recorded by the customer. Now, to tag an asset, customer simply have to click on this QR code, and the camera will open, and they have to scan this QR code. And as you can see, as soon as the QR code is scanned, the relevant asset with this QR code is tagged, and from this point the customer can create the request by saying having problem, and whatever description they want to provide. They can set a priority from here, and they can simply save. They can also attach file. They can do a lots of different things, the locations of the asset and everything. And once that is done, they can save. And once that is saved, that particular request will appear over here under customer new service request. And from there, basically your service manager, or whoever is monitoring this section, they can take charge, and they can basically do whatever is needed, create the work order, or create a job assigned to someone who really needs to take care of that particular thing. Now, having said that, basically the third point that we had was how this particular incident, once reported, can be handled. Now, there are three ways of doing it. One is obviously once the incident is reported by the customer, or by the way, this thing I just showed you how customer can report. Similarly, a technician from the technician app can also scan a QR code and report an incident. So once an incident is reported, you can basically create business rules, and you may want to assign it automatically. So if you create a business rule saying, let me show you that very quickly. So if I go to this workflow automation, and I can create a new workflow, and I can say when a work order is created, or when a request is created, let's just say, because customer or the technician is creating a request, and the request priority, let's say urgent. All right. And then what you really need to do: assign priority to request, assign asset to request, assign location, assign user to request. And if I say assign user to request, and then I can select one of the users from here, and I can create this particular workflow. Now, what it does, this removes the requirement of a service manager, to be honest. And a service manager, he basically monitors whatever is coming as an incident reporting, and then taking action, assigning someone, and doing things like that. But instead of doing that, you can create this workflow, and instead of even you assigning to a user, you can assign to a particular group of users as well. If you create a group there, that will appear over there as well, and you can assign this to a group of user. And when certain request like this is happening, when it is reported by someone, the system can automatically assign it to that group, and everybody in that group will have that notification that something has happened. And then from that point, they can take care, they can go ahead and do that basically, or get the job done. without anyone's intervention. So it can be done automatically. And the other way, as I said, you can also choose to do it manually, and for that we will go there. I can show you right now. In fact, if I go to this field service, one second. If I go to this field service, we have this dispatch calendar, and when I go to dispatch calendar, from here you can see all the technicians and all the different jobs. If you have different jobs, that will appear over here, and you can create jobs, you can block time, and that way. This is basically my planning was to show you this as part of a different point, because this is where we basically see how you can collaboratively do job with different work technicians and different team members from your team. But yeah, that is from where you can do the manual assignment as well if you want to do. Okay, now the next point was about managing the SLA. So what you can do is, from our settings, against the incident priority master, what you can say or what you can configure is what kind of SLA you have. Now, SLA can be a very big document, right, or a very small one, but at the end of the day, it talks about what you have to do when something happens with certain level of priority. So that is the measurable or actionable thing about SLA, which you can configure from here. You can provide a title for your priority. You can say high, or you can say whatever you want, and then you can say it is immediate. So if something with set as immediate, and if something is happening with that emergency, then the workforce will be assigned immediately based on that. Instead of saying immediate, you can also say what should be the response time in minutes, days, weeks, months, and then you can also provide expected resolution time, again based on the based on your SLA that you have. And what happens is, as we are allowing you to set it against the priority, and priority is one of the key fields that basically is set by everybody when creating work orders or creating the request. Based on that priority, this SLA is kind of like tagged with the work order, and when the work order is done, we can give you a reports based on that, saying like how you are doing with regards to your SLAs, whether you are achieving the targets, whether you are doing it according to the SLA or not, whether if some technician is missing something to do, and things like that. Okay, now the next point was about how you can ensure proper task and risk management using our checklist. So if I go to the checklist section, so checklist is basically the list of items that needs to be done as part of a work order. So we have so many templates. You can go to templates and go through each. You can do a preview, you can copy for your own. If I go to checklist section again and go to my checklist, so these are the checklists that I may have created manually, or I can also copy from the templates provided and modify as per your requirement. And then again, we also have this AI powered checklist generation. And what it does is, you have to provide a title and description, and based on what you are writing in your description, don't be brief, try to explain as much as possible, like what you really want. The system can generate the checklist for you. Okay, now instead of writing the description, you can also select industry. Like for an example, if I select let's say manufacturing industry, and then in type we can go to instruction manual, and then we can select a frequency of weekly, and then we can provide a asset type and click on generate checklist, and that will automatically generate the checklist for that industry and for that type. Let me show you one example, very quick example, which will be a very easier one. Let me go to fleet management maybe, and I'll go to audits, and we'll say weekly, and we will say asset type is car, or no, let's say truck. Okay, and generate checklist. Oh, sorry, I have to provide a title, truck audit checklist, generate checklist. And you have to give some time, and the system will generate this checklist for you. And after that, it's like you have the complete freedom after what system generates, you can modify, you can remove certain things from there, or you can basically add on top of whatever the AI system is generating for you. As you can see, this checklist is generated with all these different items over here with different type of choices. You can modify these questions, you can add, like, this is what is generated already. Fuel level, it wants you to check the fuel level and record the amount. So these are the options that is given by our AI engine already. If you want, you can also add an option over here from your end. So it's applicable for any of these particular fields. Once you are happy with this, you can click on save, or you can also preview it from here. So this is the checklist preview, and that's it. Basically, the checklist is created. Now, how you use it? So for that, I'll go to the work order again. Okay, and I'll go to create a new work order. All right, so when you are creating a work order, what you can do is you can go to this labor task, and from there you can say labor task from checklist. And when you go there, if you click on this section, you will see different groups against that. So I obviously didn't create that fleet management checklist, I just wanted to show you, but let me check this AC maintenance checklist here. If I click on this, this is the AC maintenance checklist. These are few check boxes. I can see some few more, like daily valve checks. If I go there, so this is another daily valve checklist. So let's just go ahead with AC maintenance checklist for the simplicity of it, and then I'll click on add task. What it will do, it will add these different tasks over here against the worksheet. Okay, and once this worksheet is created, what happens is you can say as part of checklist that this is mandatory, this particular thing is mandatory, the technician has to provide information against that, like that basically. And as this work order is created and assigned to a technician, and when they start the job from their mobile app, they will be able to see all these different tasks as part of the checklist, and they will have to go through each and provide feedback against each. So now coming to feedback, you can ask for a lot of things. You can ask them to write something. It can be a multiple type questions. You may ask them to provide some images of what they're doing, whatever you can think of, like what needs to be done as part of the job, whether it is task or risk management. Maybe you want them to wear gloves and you want to take a picture of that, yes, to confirm that you are wearing a gloves because it requires for safety measurement. And you can do that basically, and the technician has to do that before they can complete the work order. And that is why we are saying that this is a one module using which you can do the task management as well as the risk management of the job as well. Okay, now let's look at the collaborative job management section that we were discussing about. For that, what I'll do, I'll switch company here because I know there's another company where we have data, just to show you what it looks like. Now for this, I'll go to this field service and dispatch calendar again. Okay, so yeah, this is we call this a dispatch calendar because here you see all the different technicians and the assigned jobs to them. Okay, so if I go to previous, this is a better example actually. So here you can see all these different jobs that are assigned to different technicians with the status. The statuses are defined with the color code. So if I click on this, you will see all these different color codes over here and for their meaning over here. Okay, and so as a service manager, from this one single screen, you will see the workload of different technicians, what they are working, where they are assigned to, how much time they have free so that more work can be given, whether the workload is heavy for someone so that maybe you can adjust a little bit for him. And this gives you the starting, this is basically the starting point of collaborative job, what we call. So this is where you do the distribution. If you have like unassigned job, that you can see from here as well, so that you can assign that. And then from here you can also filter it based on a different type of job. So by default it shows everything, But if you want to see, for an example, only related to maintenance, so you can click on maintenance and it will show you only the job related to maintenance. If there's no job, then obviously it's completely empty. So let me go back to all, and I think it jumped back to the current date also, so that's why it's saying no, nothing, no data is. Hold on. Yeah. So this is kind of, it's a daily view. So every day in the morning, starting here, you can see what are the assignments. You can go back to the next day or previous day. But then you also have this weekly option where you can see the weekly assignments. You can also see the monthly assignments as a calendar view, or you can go to the map view. Now, this map view gives you a kind of, view on the map where the works are, what is happening where. And right now no technician is kind of like enabled their location, but when they are working, when the app is working, you will also be able to see see your technicians on the map itself and where they are basically, and it's real time. If they're moving, you will see on the map that their location is changing, they're moving. So you can basically track what they're doing, where they're going, and you can plan from here, like, where they can go next, and whether something new is coming up. With you from here you will be able to see who is closest to that, and based on that you can assign that to him, so that the service can be done quicker. So that's the collaborative approach of our job management. Also with the technician app, with work orders, when it is coming, they can basically start the work order, and if they need any help, they can use our internal chat section. So let me show you that as well very quickly. So if I go to the communication, so I can go to the chat section, and from here you have all these different users with whom the service manager can chat directly from the platform, and from the technician app also the technician can chat and ask questions, or provide feedback or whatever. So under this single platform you can communicate vice versa with your technician in real time when they are working, and you can monitor and track like where they are, what they're doing, and what more can be assigned to somebody, or how you can manage the overall workload that you have. All right. Now, how to manage the stock and what drives the stock release is the stock. We say stock as supplies. So and the parts and supplies, similar to asset, every parts and supplies that you record here also comes with a QR code and a barcode. So you can basically say, this is uniquely identify these particular parts, and you have this stock information over here, whether this particular item has stock or not. You have this purchasing information from here, you have stock cycle counts from here. If this parts has multiple sub parts, you can record that as well, just like assets. But this is the inventory part, where these information will be, these elements or these parts or supplies will be used as part of your work orders or services. So the key difference, as these two looks very similar, asset and parts and supply, is asset is against which you do the service or you do the work orders, right? And parts and supplies are consumable for that asset. To do that job, to provide that service, these parts and supplies that is needed. Okay, so that's the main difference between an asset and parts. Now, coming to the job requests basically, so what happens is when the technician is basically working from the technician app, looking at the details, and when they are going for the maintenance, they may see that to do this maintenance they need certain parts, right? And what they can do basically, they can raise that parts request directly from the app. Let me show you that very quickly. If I go to the job list here, so excuse me, these are the closed jobs, right? So if I go to open jobs, for an example, I know that we have one examples here. Let me find that. So yeah, this one. So if we open this particular job and if we go to parts, you can see the technician has actually said that these are the parts that is needed to complete the job. And not only that, once the parts are identified, yes, this is what is needed, they can create a quotation right from there. So this is the quotation that is created. Now the process is, once the quotation is created, somebody from the admin or someone else, if the technician has the right, they can also approve it, or the admin from backend needs to approve it before it goes to the customer. And once it goes to the customer, from the customer app, they can accept or reject. Now once it is accepted, then obviously this stock of these parts and supplies that is required, that can be released, and that is where we basically go to the stock issue list. So from the stock issue list, if I go here, you can create a new stock issue. So this is where you say that against the work order or against the job or to the employee, whoever, you want to basically release these equipments or parts and supplies. And when it comes to parts and supplies, you can search these parts and supplies from here, and you can basically assign those parts and supplies to the technician who is doing the job basically. And that's how the stock of these parts and supply reduces as well, because you now know that this is consumed. And if you remember, when we are looking at the asset side, the asset has a log, the parts and supplies consumed. So that is the section where it goes to, that these are the parts and supplies that was consumed in the maintenance of this asset. Now the next thing is about a job sheet, and how you manage the job sheet, how you get the data, like what has been done, and how do you basically collect the customer feedback against a job done, right? So for that, again, we'll go to the job details sections. Let me go back to this page and we'll go to the closed job, and let's just see this one. Okay, so this is a closed completed job, successfully done. So if you go here, you have this customer review section. Now once a job is closed, from the customer app or customer portal, customer can provide a rating against that and also provide a feedback against that. Also, when the technician is completing the job, the technician has to provide all these details. What was the problem, what was the root cause, what was the solution provided, and then they have to sign. And finally, when the job is closed, the admin can also provide their note before closing it completely, really. And once all this thing is done, basically you can go here and you can print, and this basically allows what you really want to print from here. And then if you click on print, it will open the job sheet for you. Let me cancel this. So this is the job sheet. So what has been done, what parts, if you have used any parts, and all these details will appear over here. And whoever was the technician, with his sign, you can create the job sheet automatically. You don't really have to do this paper fill up for anything that you normally do, like after a job done they have to fill up a paper and do things. That is absolutely not required, because from the technician app, when they are completing, the system enforces it, that they provide all this information. So it comes to the system, and from that point you can get a printout or keep it just like that. Okay, now the next point is what about customer insight, or how you basically do the customer feedback analysis. Okay, now for that, what we use is what we call our best brand product, that is a AI driven feedback analysis system. Now to see that, basically I'll go to this analytics sections, and it requires a little bit of time to basically get the data. One of the thing is I may have to log out. This particular account does not have the analytics data. Let me log into a different test account where I know I have data. So yeah, so if I go to the analytics again, so you will see what kind of report that we can generate from customer feedbacks. Now customer feedback can come to you in different ways, really. So it can be email, it can be WhatsApp, it can be recording. It can be a call where you have recorded the discussion with the customer. Anything and everything that comes to the system, our AI system can basically process that, and we call this a customer sentiment analysis. So if I go into that, you will see all these different sources: voice source, file processing source, and you can see what kind of words are used more. So this is a word count, what you are using, sentiment foul, sentiment negative, average, and then all these different informations you can basically get from here, where customer sentiment classification by executive, so which executive is performing better or worse when they are dealing with the customer. So these information you can get. And not only that, this is a Power BI tool. I hope you know about this Power BI tool. So what it does is basically it allows you to drill down the data in real time. So you can, for an example, click on this, and based on your selection, it will refresh the report so that you can understand it better. You can even drag and select like this so that the data displayed only for that particular data point, and everything basically on this page changes. And not only that, not only about this report, the sentiment analysis is more than this basically. So just imagine a scenario where you receive all these emails, receive all these reports, like how your operation is doing, how your customers are doing, whether they are happy or not. So maybe you are receiving emails, or maybe not receiving emails. How do you know that what your customer is saying? Because obviously you are not talking to your customers on daily basis. You have people who are your customer relationship managers who are doing these communications, right? Now, if they are using a line where these calls are recorded, or if they are using a medium from where you are collecting this information, you can basically create business rules, just like the workflows that we saw before. You can create business rules saying, if a customer is saying something like this, then you needs to be notified, and the system can do that. If you want to be specific about certain customer, for an example, that these are my top tier customers who I don't really want to be doing anything so that they get angry or they get unsatisfied. So if anything negative is coming from them, you should be aware of that, you should be notified about that. So you can program that, or you can configure that against those customers only, and you don't really need to focus on each and every communication you are having. Only when something similar happens, the system is capable enough to identify that by processing these different messages, different recordings, and create the notification for you, so that you can only focus on that and optimize the workload that you have already. Okay. Now, that's the customer sentiment analysis, we call it. The next is the reports. Yes, we have 200 plus reports. So let me go to the report sections. There are so many reports. Basically, not every report may be relevant for your business, but we have created these reports over the year based on different customer requirement. And as I started saying, with our professional services, we try to ensure it meets your business need. So if we hope that it can cover everything that you need, but if it still does not meet your requirement, if you need some other reports, you can always ask and we can create those reports for you. So you can see these are grouped. So first, these are maintenance related report, these are asset related report, you have purchase, incident, and supplies related reports. So supplies are stocks, as I said earlier. And then again, if you are using your field force, then we have all these different reports against the field service. So I can go here, you see all these different reports are related to only to the field service. Okay. And obviously we can create more reports. It doesn't matter. If it's something that will help, we will create it for you. Now, let's see how we can basically, what we are saying, that a smart facility. Now, if you remember, when we are discussing asset, we basically showed one section saying that this can be used for sensor data basically. Now, let me go to the asset section again and show you that. This particular account, I know that we don't have data against it, but what it's doing, it's basically metering events and it says metering, but it's not referred to practically a physically a meter. It can be different sensor. So for an example, if you have a water flow sensor and a device or an asset that do something with the water, and you want to measure the flow of the water, that sensor data will appear over here. If you are using a smart energy meter, that sensor data can also appear over here, and you can provide different thresholds to that. So you can say that if the data is going below this or above this, then something should happen. You may be notified, or a maintenance team can be notified that something is going wrong. So that is something that you can do from this particular segment. And obviously, given you are using all these IoT sensors, and based on that, you can also create a workflow that will automate creating work orders or job based on whatever settings you are doing. Okay. Finally, I'll show you the energy monitoring. So if I go to the analytics sections, we actually have this energy dashboard. It's very simple at the moment, but we are basically working on this on we very soon you will be finding a lot of other things related to this, but this is related to the smart meters. So smart meters are really available, really cheap today. So it is not justified to say smart meter only, but imagine you have multiple machineries, okay, and you want to ensure the energy consumption. You want to monitor the energy consumptions. You want to understand from the energy point of view how your machineries are working. So you can actually install smart meters against all these different devices, and our IoT portal, via our IoT portal, those meters can be connected to DreamzCMMS platform, and from this dashboard you can have all these different analytics, like how the meter is performing, what is the total energy consumptions. You can also provide the threshold values, like there can be certain limits you cannot go above based on some rules or regulations, or maybe some predefined agreement between you and the power service provider, and you can set those values. And if something goes above that, you can basically start monitoring on that, and you can get a notification based on that as well. As well as Power BI is also, for this report also, you can basically select particular sections of the report, and based on that the entire reports will be modified. Again, this is still very basic, as you can see, but we are basically working on this so that this becomes a very viable model going forward for the entire facility management perspective, and we'll be bringing in more options on top of what we already have over here. So yeah, that's it. I think we pretty much discussed everything that we had in our agenda. So yep, that's all. Thank you again for joining us today, and we really appreciate it, and we hope to hear from you very soon. Thanks.